I'm very happy, but there's also a lot of pressure with filling these shoes. But I judge myself the most harshly. If I perform bad in whatever team, I will feel bad about it.
Once again, Amadage still doing work here as Upset, just cleaning up the fight, somehow got the triple, somehow got the penta!
I'm just really happy I have this opportunity to work with a lot of great players.
Does he bring the boys? Yes, he does! The fluff chopped down!
Bwipo is losing his mind. He's building himself after that one.
Something just flashed off the wall. That's it, he's dead. Goodbye, double lift. Star comes up, right the target. That's the engage. Jackie Love teleported back in, has been rooted in place, and top esports are getting destroyed in the river.
Yeah, I can see some parallels between me and Upset's trajectory, but the difference is that he's not living up to his hype, while I'm still being underrated by everyone.
I think there are many really good players that are in a bad situation. They can't really shine, so I can definitely see how Odo relates to me in this way.
Now Shadow's got to be wondering, why did I pull the Renekton into my team? Slide and Clyde is going to be up soon. That's the slice, that's the dice.
Odo's coming in from the bottom lane. This is the flank that he wants.
Oh, it's going to be huge.
There's the Humo play. Odo waits for the perfect moment. That's going to pop. Not be able to do a lot more, though. Oh, the target does it again!
I feel like getting this chance right now with Rogue is one of like the best chances I have. Now it's just my time to show it.
The way I remember Rogue is like they figured out how to want to play the game. They're top 2 in summer 2020. And they walk into playoffs and get 3-0'd by Fnatic, and they're like, what happened?
Minions are pushing the Nexus. Larssen! The mechanical god steps up!
Rogue, ladies and gentlemen, will be the first team to qualify for Worlds 2020.
Dawn of Shadow, there's the charm. Selfmade dives into the back line! And Rogue, they tried as they might, but you cannot stop Fnatic.
I'm just not sure what to say about Rogue. Obviously, it's Trymbi, like it's an unknown factor. We've got a new mid-jungle, so it's going to be interesting to see how the mainstays from Fnatic match up against their new players, because I think that's going to make the biggest difference.
Reckless was Fnatic's hero in the moments of end. And I feel like now that he left, when the end starts from Fnatic, there's no one to stop it.
Fnatic and G2 have always been the best teams because of the mainstay names. The fact that we lost ours and we haven't really gained a new one, it's going to be a test on whether we can create one.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Analyst Desk for our match of the week, Fnatic versus Rogue. These teams were fighting at the top of all of last year, but in 2021, I think Rogue is trying to surpass Fnatic and cement that themselves in that top of the LEC. There was a lot of hype around Rogue's lineup, and we'll see if Fnatic can bounce back after that opening loss yesterday versus Misfits. We are going to cover the picks and bans right here on the desk with these two distinguished gentlemen.
Lovely.
So let's have a quick primer for both of the teams. Caedrel, do you want to talk about Rogue, what you've seen so far, and what the expectations are on their shoulders?
I think Rogue coming into Spring Split have made 2 really good changes. You know, we talked about the dynamic change. They had Vander, the experienced support, Finn, the rookie top, swapped it around, experienced top and Odoamne and our rookie support. And I think Odoamne is going to help them out a lot in terms of experience, because I think if you remember last year in the playoffs of Sjokz versus SK did like a really big lane swap on them. Sjokz didn't really know what to do, but Odoamne, Galio said in the interview afterwards, shock called the whole thing. So I think he's going to be a really important factor for Rogue. I think he covers a lot of their lack of experience across the mid-jungle AD roles. Even though Hans has been to Worlds, almost took down SKT, I think the mid-jungle needs a little bit more experience. And I think once that all comes together really well, Rogue for me is like an S-tier team.
But it's also them just looking at Hans specifically and saying, okay, he's the kind of player, if we play around him, if we get him ahead, we've always seen him take over games. He's a massive carry then, but he's always struggled if they don't play around bot side. So them actually getting a more flexible, more consistent top lane, as you're highlighting, for your weak side is very strong. I also do want to say that with Odoamne, we have seen him play carries multiple times. He can still do it. This meta offers pretty much everything around top, so there's a lot of flexibility for him.
I mean, he can do it all as we go into the picks and bans for Fnatic versus Rogue, our match of the week. So let's also have a small primer then for the side of Fnatic. The big news, Reckless not on the lineup and Upset coming in. First day versus your team, Misfits, a false start. But where do you land in terms of what they can show you in this match of the week?
I mean, I think, honestly, for Fnatic, it's a complete 50-50 right now. I think they have the individual skill on the team to always be able to challenge any team in Europe and potentially snowball in an early game and win it 100%. I also think they have a lot of new vocal players. Upset is extremely demanding in the way he wants to play. He really wants to win lane together with Hylissang. It's a big thing for him. Nisqy as well kind of wants to take over comms. So right now Yamato kind of has a lot of players who want to talk and who want to like control the game, and he needs to figure out which lane do we actually play around.
He does. The bans have already come in the first round at least. Caedrel, what do you make of it?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of champs open. Pantheon is one of them,
open.
but they've gone for Graves. Pantheon's open, Renekton's open, things like this. You got Lilia, the Nidalee, lots of different champions that you can mix and match. And like you saw about Upset, I remember his tweet said once that he was more handsome and less passive in lane than Reckless, so we'll have to see that as evidence as the TF comes in, which is TF Graves is a really good combo together, so denying that combo from the side of Fnatic, and they've gone for the Kai Sa, which is the strongest AD in the game right now.
I just want to see if Akali gets picked, because it's almost always banned, but obviously TF is one of the picks into it that we see some teams use. So obviously in this case, Rogue leaves it open, takes the TF early, also takes that away from Nisqy, because we know he is the kind of player who absolutely loves to play mid lanes where you can push and then roam.
Fun fact, Caedrel, first time in the LEC this year that Pantheon has not been banned in the first rotation, but they didn't opt to go for it.
No one picked it.
No.
And we see Aphelios out thresh as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Sylas come out from Nisqy. It's a good champion to the TF. I think Akali would be a bit risky because although Akali Graves can work really well, you like a little bit of CC. And on top of that, I think TF into Akali is a bit dangerous because of the Shroud. But he does go for the Galio, which is another champion into TF, which just matches the globals. So I like the draft so far from Fnatic. Have to see what Rogue want to do, because I think if they let their jungler drop even further down the draft, they could struggle. Although there is around 3 or 4 up, so it wouldn't be the worst case.
Yeah, we did see a good adaptation yesterday out of Rogue as well into... I thought it was Vander who played Galio, but now I'm second guessing myself. I wrote it down. Here it is. Yeah, indeed. I have the pro here next to me.
This can obviously be flexed on the Fnatic side. They can still put it down.
Ah, there we go.
I think
yes.
Pantheon, you get in now. You already have AP mid. You have double CC, like point and click CC from mid lane 2v2. That can always be super strong. Pantheon can bring all the burst damage that TF does not bring in the early game. So I actually think that does give him a lot of pride. But come on, you have TF ult and Pantheon ult right now.
Yeah.
Even like Kai Sa can close like quite a lot of distance. Like this is a very, very mobile comp in that regard.
It's global central, 100%. I think you could even throw a Shen in there if you want to, but I think if you're running double global, it's good to have something to play for on the side lane. Yes, you have the Kai Sa, but I would like to have something maybe on a carry top if you want to pull that out, but if you're going Pantheon jungle, you could also go for a tanky top like a Shen and go for the full globals and just keep diving bot on cooldown. So, like I said, the Galio is a little bit of a flex. Alistar ban coming out, Syndra ban coming out, so both just banning out each other's things. Rogue think that it could be a flex Galio, so they want to make sure TF has the easiest time possible against anything that's
good friends, Gragas Renekton.
Yeah, we do. I was going to say, finally it hasn't come out as quickly.
I mean, we've seen Renekton ban in second phase
Gragas
into like early Gragas pick, but now they're obviously just getting rid of Gragas on this side, so they can still also play Renekton if they want to and like hard play around his lane. Should it be really hard for Fnatic to answer if they do take it on 4. But they can also wait and just last a counter pick top because they've already shown their mid. That's the more standard. You pick your support on the side of Rogue and then you last pick for Odo.
Maybe Rogue do go for the Renekton on 4 because then you can keep the Pantheon flex, although it's not the best support. I think it does work down there if you want to keep the flex alive. We'll have to see what Fnatic decides to do in the end. They ban away the set, so looks like the Pantheon might go towards jungle, but like you said, they can counter-pick top or they can counter-pick support because the Galio is a flex. And if they do pick something like the Renekton, I don't think it's the end of the world, even though Gragas is down. There is champions like Gnar up and I think GP, which could be pretty good. So Fnatic won't have any issues against that.
With the information that we have of yesterday, Trymbi, of course, that new player on the roster, had a bit of a shaky start. Would you want to put him in a comfortable position? And if so, are there options to do that here with the support?
I mean, I would 100% trust him with like, you know, whatever engaged support you want him to play, or if you want to counter pick the bot side and try and hard win that, like this is the Renekton we talked about, gives them that option now to obviously look around the bot lane and see 100% what Fnatic are going to do. So I would put full trust in Trymbi. They didn't promote him for no reason. Like, just get him in there, man. It's early spring. What's the worst that can happen? You lose a game.
Yeah. I think GP is super good for Fnatic. TF Renekton. GP does really well into that. The Braum pick as well is going to negate a lot of the stun cards, a lot of the CC coming out from Rogue because their comp is quite short range. So things like the Braum do cover a lot of space there. And them picking Renekton on 4 is, well, it's two reasons they did that. Renekton's really OP right now. And the second question could be, are they flexing the Pantheon? So Fnatic have to be a bit careful here, but I think they will be rounding out the top, the comp with the top laner here. They do go for the Volibear, which historically at Worlds was actually pretty good. You saw Bwipo always picking the Volibear, and he has some highlight reels of him 1v2 TSM on that champ. So
we did also see it get abused if it did fall behind early, but obviously like he's looking at Renekton with Pantheon and TF next to him. He's like, yeah, okay, guys, like what do you want me to pick? You know, like I'm probably just gonna get completely dumpstered if they actually want to focus on me. So he's in a really, really tough spot. Obviously, Fnatic generally like they don't actually have a lot of ways if they want to be like the ones who's like straight up engaging onto. It's very, very hard to play comp on the Rogue side. As long like so it's hard to play against Rogue's comp because they have like 2 global ultis on their side, ton of CC, ton of engage, even with Pantheon and Rakan together.
It's almost the inverse of yesterday, where Fnatic had tons of engage and they weren't able to work it out. So it almost seems like they want to play a bit more passive this time and see what Rogue throws at them.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, I love this Rakan to round out the comp just in general, because Rakan is a counter to Braum in lane. So that's a really good pickup by Rogue there to counter the lane matchup. And I mean, Fnatic have a decent amount of engage with the Volibear and the Braum. It's not the best, you know, it's like
it's run at you.
Yeah, it just runs at you. It has a little bit of counterplay. They have the Galio ult to cover engages from Rogue, so they have globals to match, but Rogue, mid-jungle, 2 global ultimates and 2 side lanes to play for, so they've got a lot of playmaking.
Rogue has a lot of playmaking potential. Let's see what happens. Our first match of the week of 2021, Fnatic versus Rogue.
On to Summoner's Rift we go. It looks like Bwipo and Hylissang are starting off with something slightly spicy as they are working their way down towards the bottom lane together. However, Trymbi was aware this might happen.
The ward. The ward shall spot them. No secret surprises. Hello.
Hello.
It's Vedi.
What's the accent for?
I don't know. Sometimes I like to be astute.
Ah,
beginning of my cast.
trying to copy me.
How are you?
Oh, very well, thank you. Good chap.
You can see in this early game, more of a gentleman's game, you know?
It's a gentleman's agreement.
Yes, they look at each other, they tip their hats, good day, and the bloodshed shall begin later. The ruffians, you know?
Okay, I'm gonna say this is quite a cool and big game, Fnatic Rogue. Let's bring it into slightly more serious mode.
Yeah. I mean, of course, we already had a lot of great insight from the analyst desk. And I think some of the really interesting things that they talked about was like who wants to engage, how they want to engage, and all that good stuff. So one of the talking points that you always have to bring up when you look at an Aphelios and a Graves is that because they're pretty short range, they usually want the enemy to come to them, right? And when you look at champions like Pantheon and Renekton, what they want to do is, because they're also relatively short range, they are diving into you.
Yep.
So the Aphelios and the Graves often have a great time, right? And that is under the assumption that if both teams are like neutral around a Drake, hang on a second, bot lane.
Okay, Trymbi jumping in, is going to get the knock up onto Hylissang.
Okay.
Concussive blows, gets the stun back, but it's an easy enough trade.
So yeah, as I was saying, if they were like in a neutral position around the Drake and Rogue tried to engage onto Fnatic at the Drake, then Fnatic's probably feeling pretty good. But what the analyst desk also highlighted is that if Fnatic want to be the proactive team, if they're the ones that want to engage onto Rogue, it's actually a lot harder for them to do, because now they're the ones actually making life easier for the Rogue composition, because if you're walking into them, then they're obviously very happy. So when you look at things like that, when you're looking at relatively short-range comps, the thing that you have to think of is that being first on the objective is very important, right?
Okay.
And the one thing that I think that we credit Rogue a lot for is their ability to manipulate the wave state, set up for objectives, and their ability to play for early objectives. And I think that kind of on paper, I would just kind of give the advantage to Rogue, especially when they have so many playmaking tools. They have the Twisted Fate ultimate, they have the Pantheon ultimate, and so in the early game they have so many tools to get ahead. And then when it comes to these objectives, once you have a lead, it naturally becomes easier to set up for these objectives first. So I'm excited.
Bwipo flashing forward.
Going to be a trade of flashes in the top lane. Bwipo saw his opportunity to go for the all-in, and you get to see why Volibear is considered a pretty good matchup into the Renekton. One of the few champions that can go toe-to-toe with him in the early laning phase, actually get those trading advantages, and Bwipo very familiar with the matchup. He brought it out a lot during the World Championship and already showcasing how prominent it can be.
And of course, the important thing for that is you might just look at it and say, well, flash for flash, both of them burn a summoner spell. Odoamne has to burn his teleport to get back into the lane, and Bwipo will be hoping to not have to burn his, but he then immediately burns it because Odoamne has set up what I believe was a freeze underneath the tower.
That's not good.
Yeah, he's going to get stunned up as Trymbi walked away from the lane for a moment, and Hansama was left all alone. The heal comes out. Upset still has his flash if he wants to go forward, but very respectful that Inspired is on his way. Hylissang didn't get the memo, and first blood goes to Trymbi.
That, I have so much respect for Hansama for not flashing there, because he made a mistake.
Yeah.
He was too far up in the lane when Trymbi was going to clear a ward. He was getting punished by Hylissang and Upset. I don't think Hylissang and Upset actually wanted to get the kill there. They wanted the summoner spell. They wanted the flash. But he held on to it to the last moment, kind of to bait them into overextending, because he knew that Inspired was on the bot side of the map. Inspired then flashes in and is able to secure that kill. So really good turnaround from Rogue, which is going to immediately balloon that gold lead to 1k. And remember, we talked about it, they have a lot of tools in the early game to get these leads with things like Rakan, Pantheon, Twisted Fate. There are so many options that they have to be able to snowball the early game, and getting that first kill is going to be a great start for them.
Hylissang just overstepping a little bit in that bottom lane. Odoamne continues to trade with Bwipo, but I do want to come back to that idea of Rogue's early game, because last split they were very strong in the early game, and even yesterday actually they had a very good early game performance in their win versus XL. The important thing to note here is they were 4.4k ahead and they only had 1 kill. So it was very much to do. Obviously, they had some good matchups in the lane. It was Kennen into Ivan in the top lane. Like, they had good matchups, but it was very much to do with how they were mechanically playing their lanes rather than getting all the kills.
Yeah, they certainly were. And I think it kind of goes back to the point that we were talking about earlier, right? Which is they know how to play winning lanes very well. They know how to move around the map very well as well. And the thing we now need to keep our eyes on is utilizing level spikes and item spikes very well. So Larssen has gone back to base, used to teleport mid, gonna hit level 6 soon. Nisqy likely gonna be looking to do the same very soon, but Nisqy's got the wave in a pretty good state right now. He wants to keep Larssen slightly pressured, and I'm looking where the junglers are at. So Selfmade just gonna look to reset. This will be his first base of the game. Nisqy gonna back off a little bit, Inspired pathing towards the bot side of the map. So it looks like Dragon is gonna be the focus for now because they have the push in the bot wave, but I think that they can contest this. No TPs in the top lane. Nisqy does have his ultimate available. The mid wave is being pushed in. The bot lane's gonna answer their wave, and now they're gonna move up towards the river. Will they actually go for the fight, or will they concede this?
Well, it's already down to about 1,500 HP. Selfmade is on his way. Hylissang stepping forward as well. 1,000 HP on the Dragon. Inspired has the smite, lands it. Hylissang going forward all by his lonesome. Nisqy coming in with the hero's entrance, and Inspired will fall. Now Trymbi and Hansama have to be the targets. Trymbi looking to jump back onto Hansama, but Hansama has been caught up with the taunt, and Nisqy and Upset flash straight in to the jaws of death as they kill Hansama. Now Larssen's getting chased off towards the top side. No red buff on Selfmade means that Larssen should be able to escape, and Trymbi got away down in the bottom lane.
So as we talked about, Fnatic had the tools to answer, and while they were a little late to secure the Drake, they will get themselves 2 kills. And even though Hansama didn't burn his flash earlier, he did burn it this time, and Upset was ready to get a little bit of revenge. So note here that the Twisted Fate does move first, but the Galio actually arrives in the fight earlier thanks to his ultimate. Braum soaks up a huge amount of the damage thanks to his shield and the Guardian proc. And while Pantheon was mitigating as much as he could with his E, it just was not enough. Hansama then gets split off away from his support rather, and ends up losing his life as well. So good answer from Fnatic, showcasing that they're still willing to skirmish, and they're able to get a little bit more gold into their back pockets.
Perhaps a little bit greedy from Rogue to try and fight after Inspired had fallen. You saw Hansama stepping back towards Upset. Maybe could have just said, well, Inspired's going to die here. Let's run as soon as we can and try and get away. Instead, they lose 2 kills for it. Gold still about 500 in favor of Rogue. You can see a CS lead for Odoamne in the top lane, a CS lead for Hansama in the bot, and a slight one for Larssen in the mid lane as well. But gold is actually pretty much even in those roles. So let's have a look at where that difference is. 400 gold lead for Trymbi as support. And it's actually a 500 gold lead for Selfmade in the jungle. So that gold gap continues to shrink moment to moment.
Well, when we look back at the World Championship, it was when Selfmade was playing these carry junglers that he found the most success. Of course, Graves, bit of a cursed champion for him and his history. For those that don't know, last summer, Fnatic could not win with Graves when they locked it in. I think their first win was actually at the World's group stages, and Selfmade, all he could say in the interview was, I can't believe we actually won with this champion. Definitely found a couple more wins since then, of course, but it is a champion that he is very good at very confident at. And when he has this lead, you know that he's the type of player to run away with it as well.
I mean, he's a very interesting champion just generally at the moment because Graves is incredibly high on the priority list, probably the most picked jungler in all major regions, but sits about a 35 to 37% win rate depending on who's playing on the day. So obviously in scrims, he's playing really well, but just not quite having that translation into stage performance as of yet. Inspired's going to secure the Rift Herald for Rogue as their second neutral objective of the game as they got that Ocean Dragon earlier. And because of it, Selfmade knows he is safe to go in here and take away this blue.
Could very well try to steal the Gromp as well. His bot lane is pushing in, so he knows that he can get to safety. I don't think they're going to go for this dive. I think that would be a little too greedy. The minion wave is not quite big enough, and Pantheon's on the way. Larssen has the ultimate too. Yeah, I think that's smart from Selfmade, just going to back off from that one. But I like that from Selfmade. Steal the blue, deny it from Larssen, get yourself ahead as well, because I think Fnatic know that they do scale better. When you look at Aphelios and you look at Graves, especially relative to their opposition, I think that they're going to be that much stronger in the late game. So as long as Fnatic stay neutral to ahead within the first 15 to 20 minutes, they're happy, right? They just have to be careful of all this early game proactive playmaking that Rogue do have, and for the time being, Fnatic, I think they're pretty comfortable.
Rogue in an okay position on the other side. You can see Iron Spike Whip is on its way for Inspired. I assume he's going to go towards the Gore Drinker. A very oddly named item, the Flail. I don't understand why a Flail would want to drink Gore, but...
Again, what do you want? Do you want to do me name Steve?
Yeah. Or Bob.
Bob.
Look, wouldn't you be so much more fearful if someone ran up to you with a massive Flail and was like, I'm going to hit you with Steve?
No, I wouldn't.
You think Gore Drinker sounds better? Yeah, it does.
Yes,
okay,
it does.
Gore Drinker's the better name. You're right.
Thank you. Yes, that's why we're not letting you name any of the weapons. Okay, medic? Yeah, exactly. Now, the dragon is spawning in about a minute's time. You can see both mid laners looking to reset. The not the proto belt, the rocket belt.
Good job.
Has been picked up for Larssen. Let's see if Nisqy's going to get his first. But he's actually choosing to push another wave. A little bit dangerous because this is going to put him back a little bit more. Sorry, put him back. Rogue is going to have a bit of a tempo advantage because they're getting back onto the map a little bit sooner. You can see Trymbi grouping up with him as well. They're going to be able to push out this wave, move into the bot side river. Inspired looking to reset as well, and you can see that the Drake is on the eyes and minds of Rogue. Remember that while they may get outscaled, they do, if they can keep playing towards these Drake, then they're going to have that very obvious win condition, right?
And it's going to be either the Infernal or the Mountain Soul for them. We'll find out after this dragon goes down. One thing we did see a lot from Trymbi yesterday was moving away from his AD carry around this portion of the game, and he started to get caught in the mid game as well. And so what he hopes, and what I'm sure Rogue hope, is that he is just a little bit better at coordinating with his team.
Now let's quickly look at the items. You can actually see that the shield bow was picked up for Selfmade. Usually we see the Gale Force, but he's going more for that frontline tanky setup as Inspired does land the stun.
Glacial Fish is going to come down. There's a double taunt. Hunsummer and Trymbi locked up. The charm goes out, but Hunsummer with the killing instinct able to jump up towards the top side of the fight. And Hylissang's the first to fall. Hero's entrance coming in. Hylissang gets a kill onto Trymbi. Odoamne forced off, split off from the rest of Rogue, but Bwipo now stepping forward, landed on, stunned up, and Bwipo goes down. A 2-for-1 trade to buy in favor of Rogue, and they will force Fnatic away.
So one of the scary things for a fight at this point in the game for Fnatic is that Rogue is still very strong. Pantheon, Renekton are a terrifying combo, especially when they have that easy stun lineup with the Twisted Fate. It means that it's very easy to just get those quick kills and turn a fight in your favor. And we can see that here for Fnatic, they had the Rise set on jumping onto Hansam. He looks unprotected here. He looks like he's out of position, and follow Nisqy. As the knockup comes through, he flashes in, gets the taunt, but the killer instinct immediately takes him to safety, and now Hylissang's in a place that he does not want to be. Now the fight is in favor of Rogue because Odoamne becomes the source of focus, and Rogue can play this sort of front-to-back team fight. So while it ends up with both supports being traded, Bwipo is then kind of left without a team to support him, and Rogue end up coming out with the kills and the Drake.
It's also a really minor thing there that Trymbi did that is one of those things that he could have been planning or could have just been very fortunate, which is when he used the charm, he pathed down towards the bottom side of the map while Hunsummer killing instinct on towards the other side. So Fnatic were actually moving away from where Hunsummer was, making it a little bit harder for them to find that re-engage. We'll give Trymbi the benefit of the doubt for now, saying that it was planned as the Rift Herald goes in the top lane.
I'll always assume that the pro players plan.
But I also watched one to get a blast cone perfectly timed yesterday, and I'm like, I'm not sure how planned that was.
Very true, very, very true. Either way, Trymbi definitely off to a better setup, or better game rather, than what we saw from him yesterday. As you rightly said, he was picked out a couple of times. Still a rookie player to the LEC stage. formerly of AGO Rogue, and now we see, ooh, the response from Rogue.
Grand start, Scarfall's going to come in, and you can see already Hylissang's dead. Nisqy teleported in, he's going to land the 3-man taunt. Actually only hits 2 as Odoamne is able to get away. Upset trying to step forward, but Odoamne with the dominance is going to keep himself alive, and the stun card goes down. It's a double for Rogue. Fnatic were the ones to look to try and find the fight, but they weren't able to get it, and Rogue strike back.
The emote comes out from Inspired, the question mark. Oh, they're all coming through
Larssen
from Larssen
now.
Oh, okay. Hang on, Rogue, you lost a damn one. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. Mocking yourself, but also mocking Fnatic. They needed a top esports one, really.
They did.
That's
They
rubbing salt in the
definitely
wound.
did. Either way, Rogue, they saw the dive coming. There was a wave stacked. The TP award was set up from Fnatic, and Nisqy was looking to flank from behind. But this is where the double globals came through. Looking at minimap, you can see that both members were already in position to answer, and they immediately respond. The ulti comes through from 2 members, from the Pantheon and the Twisted Fate, and they're able to get that quick execute underneath the tower. Watch this stun here from Larssen. Focuses on Selfmade because he knows the tower aggro is going to switch, which means that the tower ends up helping, and they're able to get themselves 2 quick kills.
Yeah, because Hylissang died so quickly, Upset was the one tanking tower at the start, so he had to back away, was never able to get in the middle of the fight. And it means now you can see Rogue have accelerated their gold lead here, Vedius. They are 3,000 gold ahead, and there's 2 minutes on that Mountain Dragon.
And you can see what the Analyst desk was talking about earlier, where if it's Fnatic that want to be proactive, it is a lot harder. Yeah. With the composition that Rogue have, it's so easy to respond to anything that Fnatic's trying to do early on in the game, and this is going to be the same when it comes to fights later. Fnatic needs to be first on the objective. That's a good charm.
Trymbi lands the charm. Selfmade tried to get himself away across the wall. Summer flashing forward, but here's Hylissang an Upset. You can see Nisqy in the middle of 4 members of Rogue, and that he has fallen now, but Summer next on the menu. Selfmade will take the kill. Upset looking for a little bit more damage onto Inspired, but even with the Infernum, it doesn't quite have it. Gold card locks in from Larssen as Hylissang retreats. The spear unable to find its mark, and it looks like it's just going to be a 1-for-1 trade in the jungle.
Quite the blunder there from Sama. That should have been a quick kill, maybe even 2, and then gotten out. But because his ultimate actually kept him on the side of the wall, he didn't actually follow Selfmade over, and he had to then flash. He then doesn't even have enough damage because he realizes that Upset and Hylissang have joined the fray, and that means that it's only Nisqy who's left in an awkward spot. But Nisqy's life for Sama at this point in the game, definitely a favorable trade for Fnatic.
You can see there, Trymbi was looking for it once again. He wanted a little piece of that action in the bottom lane, but as the Destiny comes out, they knew that Selfmade was just around the corner. Trymbi just trying to delay and distract Fnatic here, stop the ports as quickly as he can. And I wonder, I've just seen Odo's off towards the top side. Actually, it looks like he was taking the Scuttle Crab. I was wondering if he was going to start up that Rift Herald, because it has spawned, and Rogue had a pretty free top side of the map if they wanted to use that Herald to crack through one of these turrets.
The thing we need to be keeping our eyes on, Medic, is that Drake spawning in 45 seconds. I think that Rogue do not want to go for the Rift Herald, as we already talked about last game. I'm not really a fan of second Rift Herald.
It's like, it's a bonus, right?
But I think the amount of time that you even invest into getting it gives a lot of tempo to the other team, where they can then make something else happen on the map that can often be much more advantageous. So I think that right now the focus should be on the Drake, and you can see that a lot of major items are being completed. Larssen even finished his second item, which is pretty big. He's kind of been quietly picking up these golden kills, kind of hasn't been the focus of this game, but definitely been very relevant. And now Rogue already set up for this Drake. And remember what we said, whoever's on the objective first is already set up for success, because Rogue, their lives are easier if Fnatic walks into them, and same for Fnatic.
Hylissang going in with Glacial Fisher, but was going to try and step forward, lands the stun, but here comes Trymbi, double charm, double knockup. The hero's entrance going to try and join the fray as Trymbi dashes back out to Summer. Inspired and Larssen split off towards the bottom side. Storm bring it in from Bwipo, and Fnatic try to dive in. They get one, they're looking for more as they try and dive back onto Trymbi, onto Odo, onto Summer. Larssen has a gold card from across the side, but Odo's too tanky at the moment for Fnatic to rip through him. However, they've already got that first kill. Odo flashes back in, Ruthless Predator stun onto Nisqy. Not quite enough. Odo has to go away once again. Trymbi diving back into Fnatic, but immediately he's popped. Answered with a kill onto Nisqy, and you can see Rogue not willing to give this one up without a fight, but Larssen's mana is low, and so is Summer, and the reach comes out onto Larssen. Summer trying to open up onto Bwipo. Will take the kill. Looking for more as Hylissang forced back underneath the tower.
Whew, what looked like a good fight for Fnatic initially ends in disaster. They have no HP bars left. Inspired has respawned, and he's going to make his way straight towards the Dragon. Rogue end up coming out on top, and they're looking to secure themselves another big Drake. So let's have a look at how this fight all kicks off. Bwipo, I think, makes a really smart decision, along with Hylissang, to just commit direct onto Inspired, split the fight up. And while it looks good, as Trymbi dives onto the backline, Selfmade's like, I'm here for protection. Just look at Bwipo in the 1 versus 2. He knows that he can buy time, and then the moment the rest of the team has disengaged from that little skirmish in the mid lane, that they then go to assist Bwipo in getting that kill. And at this point, you're like, okay, go for the Drake, but no. Fnatic decide that they want to try and contest for more kills, and this is just allowing Rogue to just keep landing stun cards. And Trymbi, I think the engage was quite promising at first, but they end up trading 1-for-1 support for mid lane, and you can see that like more chip damage just keeps coming through, and so much credit needs to go to Larssen here. He's using the range of with the rapid fire cannon to be able to land these stuns, land this poke, while Hansam is just kind of left undamaged, so they're just chipping away at Fnatic, and they were able to come out ahead in the fight.
Really feels like Larssen hasn't let up since 2020 when he was fighting close to caps as one of the best mid laners in Europe. And they topped the charts in summer season. Larssen was probably the most developed player in 2020, in my opinion. The guy that really stood out on this Rogue lineup, and now he continues to do so in 2021. 3,000 gold lead here for Rogue as Fnatic try and get their way into this jungle, maybe looking for a pick.
I mean, Larssen was even in the conversation for MVP
yeah.
Last split. He definitely had a fantastic performance, and while yesterday he was not the star of the show, he's always that consistent mid laner. We've been saying that ever since he joined the league. You know, he's a player
guy that like just casually gets to a 3-0-3 scoreline and is ripping through the team in all of these fights.
But when he first joined the league, he was that player that just didn't miss CS.
Yeah.
You remember? Well, it doesn't matter what matchup he was in, he was just always either even or ahead in CS. And it was kind of crazy how consistent of a player he was. And as you talked about, his evolution has been pretty insane, along with Rogues. And kind of when we look at their state of the map right now, 3 Drakes, 3K gold leads. Of course, we talked about how they had a lot of tools to get ahead in the early game, and I think that they've utilized them very well, along with punishing a lot of the mistakes that Fnatic have made. They've got double TP, and all they need to do now is wait for the next Drake. They set up for it first, get that fight. With the Mountain Soul, they can look to end the game.
As you've said so many times, it's all about who sets up first. Because actually, if you look at Fnatic, their key carries are strong. Immortal Shield Bow Collector is finished on Selfmade. You have an Aphelios who's getting towards his second item, and we all know what Aphelios can do when he gets a couple of items under his belt. If Rogue are coming into Fnatic and trying to get on towards that objective, then Fnatic have a really good chance. But if it's Fnatic who have to go into darkness, if it's Fnatic who have to go through choke points, it becomes so much more tricky.
Their engage tools are also just pretty non-existent. You know, you have the Volibear jumping in, maybe if Hylissang lands an ultimate, but you compare that to Rogue's engage tools. I mean, look, they've just found Hylissang and now they're diving on it.
Trymbi misses the knockup. Aegis Assault's going to be used by Inspired to block some of this damage. Hansama coming in with the killing instinct from the side. Hylissang able to get away. The taunt's going to land here as well. And Inspired only just able to dodge to the side of the collateral damage. Teleport coming in behind by Odoamne. Upset still trying to go forward. Stormbringer used by Bwipo. Inspired. Oh, he's going to starball, but he's going to fall in the pit instead. Fnatic will not turn their eyes towards the Baron. Instead, they're looking to mid.
Okay, so Rogue were the ones that were punished this time around. Hylissang doing what he loves to do and soaking up damage, and he was able to soak up a lot this time around. Did not end up losing his life. We get the TP in from Larssen in the bot river. Oh, Upset. He's found Upset.
Don't be greedy. Upset's being greedy. Rapid fire cannon, immediate cleanse away, but there's the charm, there's the quickness, and there goes Hylissang. Upset able to survive as the rest of Fnatic dive in. Odoamne's going to land the taunt here, only onto one, but maybe Odoamne has overstepped. He's down now, and Larssen stepping down towards the bottom side of this fight is looking for the flank. It's looking for these gold cards. Lands another onto Nisqy. Not too much damage, but it's the chip away that Larssen could do so well in these fights. And now, with the battle dance, with the jump in from Trymbi, that's another in the books for Rogue. And Upset next on the menu. Severum can't save you now. The Aphelios is down, and Selfmade all alone, left to the devices of Rogue. Goodbye, Selfmade, and goodbye any hope Fnatic had in this game.
And again, it looked like a promising fight for Fnatic. They were the ones that punished Rogue. They got that kill onto Inspired, and you're thinking, okay, maybe they can pressure the Baron, maybe they can pressure something else, but they were not expecting this hero play from Larssen. Let's go back to the original replay. Hylissang here trying to clear out a ward. Rogue is saying, nope, you're not allowed to do this. We have the push in top, we have push in mid. This should be a numbers advantage for us, but Braum does such a great job of soaking up damage. Then the Galio comes through, Selfmade is able to return it, and then with the TP response, they're able to turn this fight in favor of Fnatic. But as we transition into the second half of the fight, a lot of it you need to keep track of Twisted Fate. Yes, he uses his ultimate early, and what they're trying to do is just push in mid here. He overstays in mid, he wants to clear another wave, and it was that greed you were talking about, Medic. He stayed too long without his team, he didn't respect the potential for a TP, and again, so much credit to Larssen here for recognizing this, seeing this opportunity and going for it. And yes, while Odoamne does lose his life here, again, you just gotta have so much respect for Larssen because you know that he's calling the play here like, hey, we can go for this, we can commit for this. Look, Fnatic split up, we can fight. And now with the Baron buff, Rogue is looking for more.
And Simon diving in, can't quite get the plasma onto Bwipo. No minions here. Hylissang looking for a flank from the side, but really just trying to chip away at Rogue. I really want to watch how long Selfmade is allowed to attack for in these fights, because in that last one, he was Ruthless Predator stunned, into Gold Card, into having to retreat because his team is dead. And so with him being the key carry for Fnatic here, and with Fnatic having to step forward into Rogue, Hylissang already almost dead. A great taunt though lands on the forward with the Stormbreaker coming in. This is Upset's chance to open up the big guns. Severum, Gravitum, not the guns you want in this sort of fight. You really want Crescendum to get the damage down, and now it's 2 for 2 trade so far. Selfmade trying to do the damage, but Odoamne just rips them to shreds! Absolutely mauled by the Gore Drinker, and the Meek have been culled!
I cannot believe how impactful Larssen is being with this Twisted Fate. So many amazing stuns were landed to allow the rest of his team to turn the fight in his favor. Beautiful stuff from the Rogue squad. They're gonna get themselves the Mountain Soul, and again, that fight looked promising for Fnatic, but unfortunately for them, it was not enough.
Really feels like perhaps if Upset had had different guns for this fight, the landscape could have been so different.
So you can see that already at the beginning of this fight, Bwipo is very low. Hylissang looks like he's getting chunked down. You can see that taunt that you were talking about, but look at the positioning of Larssen here. Taunt, one after the other, gets that initial pick. But you're thinking, okay, but Fnatic have been able to equalize the kills, but this is it. The Rocket Bell into stun again, like, just...
Yeah.
What a beautiful Twisted Fate performance. His positioning was great, the gold cards was great, and like often, yes, it's not that kind of hyper carry dishing out loads of damage, but his kill participation involved 13 of the 17 kills, just great positioning in that fight to allow the rest of his team to clean up.
It's one of those, you actually have to be very game intelligence. You have to have great game sense to play Twisted Fate like this, because it's not just about, oh, I burst the AD carry. It's about who's threatening my backline? Who do I need to stun in this moment? How can I position to make sure I'm safe? When can I get a rapid fire cannon proc off? And Larssen is showing us once again that he has come into 2021 wanting to make a statement.
And props to Nisqy, because I feel like that he did land a huge taunt there, but like that's his job done at that point, you know, like he's gotten into the backline, he's set it for his team, he's buying time. I can't remember if he actually had an opportunity to use his ult, but either way, the fight kind of looked promising for Fnatic, but at the end there, Larssen was just able to turn things around. So great stuff coming out from Rogue. They now have the Soul. The Baron buff has worn off, and while they are looking to siege, you would imagine that they're likely going to wait for the next Baron before they can look to end this game, but this game looks done and dusted.
Couple of Fnatic question mark pings on the deep ward near the bot lane, maybe looking to see if they can get a flank position here off onto Rogue. Larssen is in the mid lane, but there's the charm onto Bwipo straight away, and the hero's entrance is not enough to save him. Now Nisqy stunned up underneath the turret. No minions here mean that Rogue will be a little bit apprehensive, won't want to step too far forward, and with the Crescendo coming out and with the turrets going down, Upset can put out a lot of damage. You can see Odoamne down to half HP already. Larssen once again locks in a gold card and straight away dives onto Upset. Trymbi has the flank. Trymbi has no charm, but he has the jump and he tries to dive in with flash. Larssen now with the gold card once again has been forced away from the tower. Odoamne trying to step forward. Upset had the perfect weapons to fight this fight, but just he doesn't have the front line. They're getting ripped to shreds by Rogue.
They certainly are, Medic. Rogue. They've been able to find that initial pick onto Bwipo. He's still dead. Their siege is going to continue, and Fnatic will be forced to concede. This will be the first inhibitor going down, and Rogue will walk away the victors.
I think here's the TP. They're flanking. Nisqy going in, stunned immediately, and they just dive straight onto him, and now it's a 4v3. Make that a 5v2, sorry. Selfmade now stunned up, doesn't really have anywhere to go, has already used the flash. Hunt Summer decides Selfmade isn't even worth his time and dives onto Upset. Hunt Summer with a double. I believe he got a triple in the end, and now Bwipo all on his lonesome, a very sad bear in an unbearable situation. He would wanted the polar opposite, but this bear is done. Take pause for thought as Bwipo is about to fall. The charm comes out, and he is done for.
Raw. I'm a bear. Beautiful stuff from Rogue. The fact that they were able to turn that fight around, and they did exactly what you're supposed to do in a situation like that. Engage on the team that's looking to engage, and you ignore the TP flank, and they played it beautifully. Rogue looking to end the game right here, right now.
There's a reason Rogue are in many people's top tier, fighting for the top spot and making a statement as they clean up Fnatic on the Fountain. Rogue 2-0 on the week.
A much stronger performance from Trymbi on day 2.
Definitely.
Some of the nerves definitely getting out of his system. Great Rakan play overall. Love the early action that we saw from Inspired, but Larssen was really the star for me this game. His positioning on the Twisted Fate, the way he was responding to ganks, just his impact with those stuns in every single play that was happening, just beautiful to watch. Very impressive mid laner, and definitely someone that I think we're going to continue to watch as the season progresses. But Fnatic, obviously very frustrating, going 0-2. Still, of course, tomorrow for an opportunity to get a win back on the board. Many Fnatic fans probably tweeting at me right now. They always go 0-3, 0-4, 0-5 at the beginning of the split.
I looked it up, they don't. So usually they go like 1-1 week 1 or 1-2. Like they will lose some games. They usually have a weak start to the split. But I checked like 3 years back. I couldn't see a time they'd gone 0-2. So this is actually a poor start for Fnatic.
Definitely a time.
Maybe I mischecked it, but usually they win at least one game in their first week.
Well, tomorrow's still another day for Fnatic, but I think like there are good things and there are obviously things to criticize for Fnatic. One of the big trends that I've seen over the last 2 days is that they seem to be taking fights they don't necessarily need to take.
True.
And I think that yeah, it was a difficult comp to play against. I think that the Analyst set us up beautifully for what we can come to expect from that game, because it was very much, they didn't have as many tools to be proactive as Rogue did. And when we saw them try to attack the side lane, they often got punished for it. So we'll see what Fnatic can do tomorrow. Of course, your player of the games are on your screen: Odoamne, Larssen, and Hans Sama. You know my vote's over towards Larssen, but you have the choice. You can vote on LEC at Twitter.
We'll soon hear from Hans Sama before Odoamne joins us in the post-game lobby. Don't you guys go anywhere.
Systems are overloading. We can't risk another game.
We need to take a break and regroup.
We're starting to lose our mind. Captain, we cannot go back to Elo Hell. Last time it took us months to get out of it.
Initiate break protocol.
Hurry up!
Yes! Yes! I did it! We did it! We did it!
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Welcome back to the LEC for the last interview of the day. Rogue win the match of the week this time, and I have Hans Sama with me to talk about the game. Hi, Hans.
Hello.
Hi. So, let me get something. I think I know how to spot a confident Hans Sama when I see one. So, explain the mindset right now and the confidence that we can see on stage.
Well, I think right now, during 2021, I feel more of a confident player than the last year. Of course, I was very confident in 2020, but it's a bit different. The Hans Sama that I feel now, I mean, the me that I feel now, I feel like I've learned so much in 2020 and improved a lot as a player, and know on what I have to work on to be able to perform at my best every time. And that year was very nice for me, 2020, for my self-improvement, and I feel like 2021 I could go very far this time.
Yeah, I feel like you're bringing everything a step further. And I mean, you have a new setup this year with Trymbi as a support. Historically, you've been known to work with experienced supports, veterans like Mickey, Gorilla, Vander last year. This time around, it's different. You're training a rookie. What does it change for you?
I have a lot of experience as well as playing with rookies back then. I played with a lot of veterans, but as well a lot of rookies. Especially when I was in Misfit, I had the chance to play with, with DOS and Crazy Cats. For me, they were people that I had to give them something, and I think I had experience working with rookies already, and I think I try very hard to let my knowledge towards Trymbi. I really like to play with Trymbi. I feel like he's gonna be very strong in the LEC.
Yeah, you guys are a very strong bot lane already, and I talked to him after the game yesterday, and I know he was very looking forward to playing against Upset and Hyli. So how was he before the game? Relaxed, a bit stressed? I know he wanted to play his Rakan as well, and he popped off during the game.
I wasn't sure how he felt. I mean, I didn't really ask him, but having to see his Rakan in this game, it felt like he was very confident and went for the engages, and it was really awesome to see him playing like that. And it's, I hope that in the future he will get more confidence and get more used to stage. I think yesterday he didn't really have a bad performance. I think we could see that, I mean, it was a team thing because the game was really slow, so you're like someone with a set as a champion, you're like, oh, maybe I should engage there, engage here, but it was the whole team, we were all nervous. And he was on the engaged position, so it was not on his fault.
Yeah, someone has to go in playing set with the engages, I mean, and that was his role for the game. So focusing a bit more on you and Rogue right now. I know you're praised by many experts in the league scene, so who can take you down, Hans? Who can stop you right now in 2021 with the confidence you have on stage?
Who can take me down? I mean,
are you afraid of anyone?
Everyone can take me down. It's just that I need to always respect the enemy. I don't want to go to a point where I disrespect enemies and go full int, I would say. I always make sure that my opponents, I mean, they are all very good, so I always need to focus on how can I deny them from playing their game, and I want to always be able to, take the game seriously. Every second count in the game. I don't want to go to the phase where it's like kind of autopilot. I just want to respect the enemy as much as possible and play my game. I think it's all about me.
Well, you have a solid plan in mind, it seems. Hans, thank you very much for the interview. Really looking forward to seeing more from you guys on stage during this year, and good luck for the game tomorrow.
Thank you.
And we're going to take a short break and we'll come back for the post-game lobby with Odoamne. See you soon.